When you think about the top performing weapons in XDefiant right now, there's probably a couple that just immediately spring to mind. The likes of the MP7, the ACR, maybe even the TAC-50 are probably on that list. But I would dare say that the AK47 has also confidently earned its spot there as well, and with some attachments to boot, this can be a mainstay in your loadouts for the long run. G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and welcome to our review and guide for the AK47 in XDefiant. Now, as per usual guys, I do have the video chaptered up for those who aren't keen on sitting through a 10-minute long review for a weapon, so enjoy the video at your own leisure as always. We are of course though going to start off with the stats here that give the AK47 its personality and place in XDefiant. Starting off by taking a look at the damage profile here, the AK47 in XDefiant comes in as the heaviest hitting full auto assault rifle in the game, only falling short to that of the M16A4, which of course is a burst fire weapon. So yeah, if you were to compare apples to apples and compare only full auto weapons to full auto weapons, yeah, the AK47 here takes the cake. And I must say, comparatively to the likes of say the M4A1, the AK47 feels like the local Esche of the group, which just pelts bricks at people's car windows rather than pebbles, so to speak. The AK47 rocks a maximum damage of 22 out to a 29 meter range, a mid-tier damage of 20 out to a 43 meter range, and then drops to a minimum damage of 18 when extending beyond that 43 meter range. The AK47 also sports an improved headshot multiplier of 1.5 times as well, which pushes our damage up to 33, 30, and 27 at those ranges respectfully. So if you haven't caught on quite yet, headshots with the AK-47 are well and truly the key to turn this weapon from pretty decent to holy shit, that guy is dead already efficiency. So you'll see here that we're talking a 5 to 6 bullet to kill efficiency for 100 HP targets here for body shots and a 6 to 7 bullet to kill efficiency for phantoms respectfully. But the moment you start throwing headshots into the mix here, we're talking a 4-shot kill on all targets in the game with the exception of phantoms beyond that 43 meter mark. Now, for body shots and headshots alike, that is an incredibly consistent damage profile for the majority of ranges that you'll be fighting at, only dropping 1 shot of bullet to kill efficiency as the worst case scenario. It means that you can really build some muscle memory into your time with the AK and really make the most of every magazine and every reload. But more on that shortly. When we take the rate of fire of 600 rounds per minute, we are looking at a time to kill that ranges between 400 to 500 milliseconds on 100 HP targets with body shots, and 500 to 600 milliseconds on phantoms with body shots, and 300 milliseconds at all ranges for 100 HP targets, and only seeing that drop to 400 milliseconds on phantoms should you see yourself pushing the weapon beyond 43 meters of engagement range. And look, putting those numbers out there guys, yeah, the AK-47's baseline time to kill is already pretty competitive as it is in the world of XDefiant. Don't get me wrong, but man, that headshot time to kill really does pelt it into a world of consistency and lethality that few guns can match in this game. It really does feel like it's in a league of its own here at times. But unfortunately, it's not all sunshines and rainbows here. And when we start digging a little bit more into the AK's handling, we can start to see, where the cost of that damage profile shows up in the weapon's performance. And we can start by looking at the recoil graph here. By comparison to the M4A1 review and the recoil graph that we had looked at last week for that weapon review, which is also linked in the top right of your screen now if you're interested, the AK sports a pretty harsh vertical kick and a somewhat weaker kick to the right to boot. By virtue of opposites, that of course means that you need to be pushing down into the left on your input of choice to compensate for this weapon's recoil and keep it planted on your target's cranial area. But this time around, I've also added a little note here to say that only 23 of the 30 rounds that I fired in the magazine landed on the spray pattern board, which indicates that by comparison to the M4A1, which landed all 30 of its rounds on the board when fired from the same distance, the AK's recoil is far stronger in magnitude and is going to take far more wrangling to keep it down. As many have said before, with great power comes great responsibility, and apparently this also applies to a weapon that kicks like a roided up mule. Now thankfully we are greeted by a 30 round magazine and a 120 round ammo pool to boot, which is consistent with the majority of the assault rifles in the game, and a 2.1 second reload time, which is actually an improvement by a slight comparison to the M4 as well, so we'll take that as a win. However, our hands handling from an ADS time and a sprint out time here does take a bit of a hit as well, which clocks in at 300 milliseconds for each, which again is nothing too crippling here, but is going to be noticeable if you find yourself running and gunning with the gun quite a bit, especially when going against the likes of SMGs. So that's the AK from a statistics perspective, guys, and how it's built up. And I think as a starting point, we can come to the definite conclusion that the AK47 definitely fucks around, but if you push it a little too close to the sun, you're gonna find out pretty quickly. Sporting the rate of fire that it does, it actually punishes you for missing a shot very badly. For the time it takes for you to fire another shot and correct for your mistake, a weapon with a faster rate of fire will have planted 2 to 3 in you in the same amount of time. So the AK-47 is all about rewarding that crosshair placement and making sure that every shot you fire does in fact count. By comparison to the rest of the assault rifles in the arsenal, with maybe the exception of the M16A4, I would argue that this is the highest skill floor but also highest skill ceiling assault rifle in the game right now. It comes with the greatest degree of reward if you can make your shots hit your target, but can also present to you a one-way ticket straight back to the respawn screen should you fuck it up. But should you get over that hurdle there, folks, I can't deny that this thing right now is 100% a meta weapon. It hits so incredibly hard at so many different distances, and it will send people straight to destination fucked on command if your aim is true. Which is why I also feel as though it's got a bit more wiggle room in how you can customize it to fit different niches and different roles in the game by comparison to the likes of the M4A1. That greatest skill ceiling that the AK-47 brings forth to the table, by comparison to the M4, is exactly what gives that added flexibility to be more effective in more engagement distances. It's got the time to kill capability to keep up with SMGs in close quarters, and if you build it for the opposite end of the spectrum and go for ranged engagements, it will fuck people up using sniper rifles and DMRs there too. Which is again why I believe this is a mainstay weapon and why it's something that will stick in your loadouts for the long term. It's that adaptable and carries its weight in multiple engagement distances to the point where it'll just feel very comfortable to use. But to be that mainstay in your loadout, you're obviously going to need some attachment builds, and I've got not one, not two, but 3 for you guys here today with the AK-47. Once again, the weapon can be really adaptable if you're willing to spend some time with it. Build number 1 today comes in the form of a balls-to-the-wall, movement-schmover, aggression-style build. This basically SMGifies the AK-47 into an absolute speed demon, sending you around the map at Mach holy shit, but as a cost, you do see yourself sacrificing a lot in the recoil control side of things, and you also don't get a sight picture on this weapon, so again, really built for that CQC engagement. The rapid fire barrel in particular here even gives us just that little bit more in the way of firepower by upping that rate of fire. It's not a huge material impact at the time to kill, but it is something, and it's nice, especially for those frantic CQC engagements where you are going against SMGs. But in all honesty, the rest of the build here is dedicated to improving movement speed, ADS speed, that overall sprint to shoot readiness, as well as that reload readiness. The fast mag in particular here, while it does sacrifice some ADS time to equip, is actually a huge benefit with that 50% reload speed improvement. Seriously, the amount of times that the fast mag in of itself has saved me in these chaotic CQC environments, it just goes without saying. So if you're looking to take the AK and its power and just transform it into a CQC powerhouse, this is the build I recommend you do it with. However, let's say you're someone who likes to take things at a slightly slower pace and something that's more in your own wheelhouse. This is where my more consistency, middle of the ground build comes into play here. A few of the key changes that you'll see on here is that we do in fact have a red dot sight on the build this time for that extra longer range target acquisition clarity, but we're also running the vertical grip here to reduce that vertical recoil and make the weapon just that little bit easier to control over longer bursts. You'll also see that we're running the chrome lined barrel attachment on this gun here as well, which improves the range increments by 20%. Now, given that this is a weapon that only drops 1 bullet to kill threshold across all ranges, and that occurs at the very end of the damage spectrum, a lot of people may be questioning my choice. in this attachment pick. For me, what this attachment does is it improves the actual likelihood of you hitting that 5 bullet to kill threshold against longer range targets like a sniper or a DMR user. Given that this is a build that's designed to sit back a little bit more and, extend the effective range of the mid damage range while also greatly reducing that recoil and making you more of a powerhouse in these environments, every bit of consistency you can get back from the weapon in those engagement ranges is quite simply key. And on top of that, we're also running the lightweight stock here, which doesn't have too great an impact when it comes to the weapon's handling as far as recoil control is concerned. And as a better factor, we get some movement speed back while also getting 20% aim walk speed in our favor, which improves long-range strafing capability. So it's a nice benefit to have. Now, to 95% of you watching this video, those are going to be the loadouts I recommend. However, if you've made it to the end of this video and you're in the top 5% of players, the players who are just absolute menaces, the machines that score headshots on a regular occurrence and chain them like there's nobody's business, then I've got one more loadout for you that I want to recommend here today. And this loadout takes the AK47, if you can aim with it well, from being an absolute monster to being somewhat godlike, a somewhat heavenly being, if you will, that has decided to grace us with its presence. And it comes from taking that consistency build and making it 2 slight adjustments. As opposed to running the chrome-lined barrel and the vertical grip, we're going to switch those out for the heavy barrel and the extended barrel attachments. And the key little detail here, guys, is that the +5 weapon damage that the heavy barrel provides bumps the AK-47's maximum headshot damage to 35. And I'm sure many of you are working out exactly why this is such a big deal, but that takes the AK-47's headshot bullet to kill threshold on 100 HP targets down to 3, which therefore effectively gives it a 0.25 second time to kill. That is out of this world insanity right there. Now, it does demand that you land 3 consecutive headshots with the AK-47 to get that best case time to kill. It's no easy feat. And on top of that, you also take a cut in rate of fire by 10% as well by equipping the heavy barrel, which means that if you land body shots, you see no material gain. It is the highest of risk but highest of reward loadout that you can possibly equip here with the AK-47. But if you can make those shots connect, it is lightning fast. People drop like a sack of shit, I tell you what. And the extended barrel attachment on here as well also improves the range in which this damage can occur, further improving that efficiency. This is a loadout not for the faint of heart because it actively does damage your body shot time to kill thresholds. But if you are someone who can score those headshots like something fierce, I tell you what, guys, you're going to have a blast with this build. Trust me, give it a go, have fun with it. But folks, with all of that said, that is going to wrap up today's video talking to the AK47 in XDefiant and all of the qualities it brings to the table. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to backhand the like button as it does go a long way to supporting the channel. And if you are new here, consider subscribing while you're at it, guys. We've got a lot of content coming for XDefiant, BattleBit Remastered. There's also a lot of other shooters that are on my agenda to cover very soon. So if you're keen on that content, stick around, guys. It'd be lovely to have you here, a part of the community. And speaking of being a part of the community, come check out our Twitch channel. First link in the description down below. It'd be great to see you guys on the streams as well. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.